single day, I'm gonna make something great. That's my way. Every single day, I'm gonna make something great. That's my way.
Hello, this is Pastor Jay. I'm excited to invite you to come over to listen to our broadcast on YouTube. Yes, Walk in True Christian Fellowship Church on YouTube. We have some great videos over there, and you'll be able to listen to all the lessons and the podcast. So again, subscribe, like, and continue to comment and listen. This is Pastor Jay. Talk to you later. Peace. Five, 4, 3, 2, 1. Hello, this is Dr. J, or Pastor J, with Walk of Truth Radio Podcast. Not with your encouraging word, but with our Let's Us Reason Together show. And all week long on the Walk of Truth side of things, I've been talking about men, biblical men, and the cultural society from the man's point of view, from the pastor's point of view, from the biblical point of view. Today, I want to bring in the women. I want to bring in the women's perspective on what they see the cultural man of the United States is, or maybe the cultural man that is African American, but nonetheless, the cultural man. I have sister podcaster extraordinaire, Tanika Drake, on the line. Say hello, Tanika.
Hey, everyone.
She's the podcaster of God's Gifts Through His Word. And then I also have Sister Alfreda Brown. She's a disciple of Walk of True Christian Fellowship Church. She's a young woman of God. So I wanted to get her perspective, a younger woman of God, because Sister Drake is a young woman also. But I just want to get a younger perspective of what they think about manhood. So, Frida, say hi to everybody.
Hello.
Okay. So now what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and get started. Sister Frida, I'm going to start with you, actually. I'm going to ask you the question.
Mm-hmm.
What is your definition of manhood based upon your life, your experience, and what you see in the culture today? What do you think manhood is? And I'm not talking about what you want it to be, what you see that it is today in the state that it is now. It's almost like a State of the Union address on where we are as far as the woman's perspective on manhood.
Okay. Well, quite simply, a person naturally born male, it's silly that we have to start there, but that should be said, because now that, I have to say that now. The person naturally born male who is a leader, a provider, who is a person who is responsible for the things that he does, the things that he creates, and also, quite simply, just someone who has his own house, his own car, his own job, things like that, where he is completely independent and doesn't have to depend on anyone or anything.
Okay. Well, you gave us the ideal male, but what's the reality? It's almost like you gave us the Ten Commandments. Yeah, we know that men should be that, but is that the reality of your experience?
No.
Okay, give me that.
Not of my experience.
Well, that's what I want.
A trustworthy person, a person who stands what he means and means what he says. Not
No.
very candy.
You're still giving me the ideal male. Give me your experience on the reality.
My experience of the reality.
Well, let me do like this. The men you've dealt with, have they been trustworthy?
No.
Okay, that's what I'm looking for. You're giving me the definition ideal male. Give me the definition. Let this audience know what you've been through as dealing with the cultural male.
Well, yeah, someone who is trustworthy, who is a helpmate.
Okay, stop right there. Hold on. You keep giving me the ideal male. Tell me your experience with the males you've been dealing with. They haven't been trustworthy. So give me what you've been through with males. Don't give me what you want. Give me what you've been through.
Been through a lot of people who always just try to take from you. Even if I do offer things, they always try to take more. They try to figure out what more they could get. They're like always leeching, not really sincere, and not trustworthy, not truthful. They didn't have their own house or their own car. They might have one but don't have the other. And then if, depending on how old they are and how long they've been doing it, they don't really even have aspirations to get better or to own their own. They just want to see what woman out here they could run into or runs into them and see what they can get from her. How long will she put up with him and give him things without him reciprocating?
Okay.
Just kind of.
Okay. Compared to your definition of what a male should be, has the males that you've been dealing with, what you said something about having your own. So they haven't had their own. They haven't been accountable. They haven't been responsible. So how did you end up getting something like that? Did you miss the mark? I mean, it seems like you know the definition of what it should be. So how did you end up with something that's not what you said?
Well, me personally, I was going one way down one path, and I decided for myself that I'm not going to continue this way. So I chose to do something different in myself. But what happened was the guys that I was going for and doing things with, they didn't change. So I ended up being serious. I decided to stop playing. I was playing with this guy, I was playing with that guy, I was playing with this guy. And I said I wanted to stop playing. So I picked a guy, a random guy, and decided to be serious because I felt that I was growing and I was maturing and I didn't want to continue to go down that path. So I just picked the guy and decided to be serious. And that was the first time and only time for real to this level that I got played. And I didn't use discernment, and it was also, he was like a con man in a way. So it just, I got because I decided to do something different, but I didn't do the necessary steps that I needed to take to find something different.
Okay.
Because I did something serious to someone who was playing, and yeah, I'm out of the game per se, but that one that I wanted to stop, I have stopped, but I have rolled over into this whole new ball game.
Mm-hmm. Well, you said he wanted to play. Did he okay, when you first started talking, you gave definitions of basically a real man. Did he portray himself to be that?
He portrayed himself to be that he wanted to. He portrayed himself to be trying to do that. Mm-hmm. But he also portrayed himself as like a person who can't blossom because of the woman that he was with.
Oh, that's interesting. Go ahead.
Yeah, he was telling me that he had aspirations to do this or to do that, but the woman that he was with made him feel bad about that, didn't allow him to do that, kept minimizing him, and he didn't feel that he had that in him in order to get all of that together, all of the big things and plans that he had.
So what I hear from you as a man listening to you, this other man is telling you that his manhood is wrapped up in a female supporting, holding him up, directing him into being a man. He wanted to be a man, but whoever he was with at the time wouldn't allow him to be a man. Therefore, he tells you this in order to coax you into, you're the one that will help me be a man, right?
Yes.
You're the one who will help me grow up to be a man. Okay, I'm gonna put a pin in it right there for you. Sister Tanika, same question to you. Cultural manhood, your experiences, how do you would define it as the reality of today?
Well, mine obviously comes from a different perspective altogether.
Yep.
But what this young sister is saying, Miss Frida, it's a little bit of that combined with power, combined with control. Now, the experience for me personally is the facade, which she says she got. It is a game. When I have entered into that arena of a relationship, stepped in it to be serious, not playing, not like I got my head on my shoulders looking for a dummy. I'm not doing that. I was never doing that. I wasn't born an idiot. So when you get in relationship with these so-called men, okay, because of the anatomy, and they tell you what it sounds good to your ears, that's what they do. We're going off the eargasm, okay? We are listening, and then we're watching. Right. We are watching. I'm not just going to go and, hey, open my legs to you because what it sounds good. No, we're not doing that. I am listening to you. I am also watching your actions. Now you're showing me a picture of the game. You're going to do what I want because you're showing me what it is. If I love to go to church, you're going to be in Bible study. And you're going, and you're going, and you're going, and you're going. I don't have to force you. So that's looking like I said, like it's a facade. It's looking like you really want to be in church. You want to be about the Lord. Okay, I'm going to sit back. I'm not saying no words. I'm going to watch you act and see if this is for real. But then you watch and see all the hoopla, go to church, go get baptized, go get saved. Like, wow, this is real. I didn't force him. I didn't ask you. You did that of yourself. So I'm thinking, perhaps this man has had an interchange with the outward exposure of what he's doing. However, that was still part of the facade of the game, because each individual man that I have noticed in society, period, is they become a chameleon and they assimilate to what it is that you like. And they are going to study you and study you and study you. They don't have to ask you. They don't have to tell you. They just want to study you. They like to listen to what it is. Oh, Tanika, you like to listen to R&B? I got some smooth jazz. I got this. Okay, wonderful. You like to hear this and that. You like to go to a nice quiet movie. You like a nice dinner. He's going to be everything that is ideal. He's going to be the ideal man. However, he is not. He is a counterfeit, a facade. And he is that literal, even though we don't want to use the Bible, he is that literal wolf in sheep's clothing. And he will play that sheep part until he gets what it is. And some of these men are different. It's either to lock you down with a baby, lock you down with marriage, whatever it is, to do whatever their personal MO motive is, they are going to do that. So if their job, like for me, my person who I dealt with, his job was to lock me down to be a wife, because he had already had a wife. That wife was not acceptable. He did what he did. He didn't give me all the backstory. I didn't get to talk to her. If I had been able to talk to the first one, I might have understood, okay, because child support, like some of us understand men need to pay that. But if you're telling me she don't want child support because she automatically threw you out, what did you do? You're making her look like the bad person, but what did you do? And you have 3 kids prior that you don't want to pay for, nor do you want to see. I have a problem with that, but you're saying you're going to go and pay child support. You're going to do it, but she won't allow you. Okay, well, maybe that's fair. Maybe she's not. Maybe she is being a little like a female dog for a minute. Maybe she is. But then if I'm going to ask you, well, you still need to take care of your child support, and I'm the one calling him on his personal responsibility. You have 3 kids. If the notice comes to this house that you need to pay your child support, you need to go and do it. Oh, I ain't going to do that. It's going to come and find you. Whether you pay it now or pay it later, you're going to play, but you're going to pay later. And then when this one tells you how to operate, and I'm talking about me, when I tell this man of mine, who supposedly is supposed to be mine, I tell him how to deal with the first wife. I was like, you can't get nothing out of the first wife if you keep talking to her and calling her out her name. I wouldn't like it. She don't like it. So let me tell you how to deal with her. So things that he needed from me to get the first wife to do what she needed to do, I helped him to do. So he thought after I taught him how to deal with her, that he thought that the lesson I gave to him, he was going to use on me. I said, no, you're not going to use that on me because I'm the one that gave you the tools to deal with that woman. You're not going to use those tools on me because I'm the one that taught you. So we're teaching some of these men who come to our lives to have women. They're not men. They are boys. They are playing. They are 60, 50-year-old, 40-year-old men and 16-year-old juveniles in the head. And then when you don't do something they want, they're having these grown man temper tantrums. They are fussing, cussing. You ain't nothing but a dog. They call you every name in the book when you say, hey, are you going to go and go fix my car so I can get an oil change? Why can't you do it yourself? Look, I just need you to be a man and go take my car to go get an oil change. If you can't do it, fine. I'll do it myself. Okay? No, I can do it. I don't want to force you. If you don't want to do it, fine. So what we lack in this culture, where it's biblical or non-biblical, is men having responsibility, not being able to have integrity. They don't want to be responsible. They don't want to be dependable. They don't want to do anything. And that's what I'm running into. And even when you talk to someone just on the phone, and I find that even with the chat lines, when you're trying to get back in dating, that some of these men have this thing that if I say something, you're just going to do it. Give me your number. I don't have to give you where you at. You don't need to know that. Because I'm a woman, I'm automatically obligated to tell you about my life story. Excuse me, sir. I don't know you, nor do I care to, because you're approaching me in a sideways, cockamamie manner, and I'm not down for it.
Okay.
So that's my dealing with the men of today.
Okay. And now what I hear similarities in the story is we have a facade. We have these boys, these males, adult males, knowing the game they're playing. You're assuming that in one way, the assumption is that you can help him become a man. You kind of assume like, okay, if I just tweak him a little bit, even once I realize the facade is being played a facade, okay, it's my facade, he's my man, and I can tweak him. And what I would tell women all over the planet, if they listen, you can't make a man. As a man gets older and he gets settled in his ways, see, 20, that's cute. 30, that's okay. 35 to 40, it becomes really annoying. And then you get in your 50s and you still a boy child. It's really terrible, because what ends up happening is you wanted a man, but you end up with a son. You ended up with a son. You ended up with somebody you need to raise. But the problem is he's perpetually a child. Because anytime a man's manhood is based upon what a woman does, he's not a man. I'm going to say that again. Anytime a man's manhood is based upon what a woman will do for them or not do for them or because of them, they are not a man. Where the Bible says iron sharpens iron, they're talking about men. They're talking about men. And see, and therein lies the issue. And people, audience, listening to these two women. I wish we had the third one on here, but listening to these two women, they're coming from different perspectives, but they're saying the same thing. These boy men, these boy childs, these boy males are grown in physical stature, but they have no philosophical, no emotional, no spiritual, no growth in them. See, the key is, I think, is what can you say about freedom? Come back to you. What can you say that you know for sure about the men that you've been messing with for sure? What could you say about them? Give me one adjective.
Lazy.
Lazy. Okay. Tanika, give me one adjective.
Weak.
Weak. So we got lazy and weak. So how are you going to be a man if you lazy and weak? How? And as women, I'm going to say this to you. If that's what you know you've been through and that's what you know, and at the time, okay, we're going to give you a pass on that. But what I see is perpetual. Because it takes courage from a woman, as we talked about cuffing season, to say that I'm not going to just get with a man because I'm lonely. Because with that, you open yourself to weak and lazy. You're not going to make them strong and, what's another word? Lazy, strong, and, a person who goes after stuff. You know what I'm saying? You're going to make ambitious. Yeah, you're not going to make them strong and ambitious. He'll tell you that. Now, in Frida's story, she tells a story of, like, just like you said, both of y'all stories said the same thing. He told me about the other woman. He made the other woman look bad. And I fell for it thinking that I would be different and that all he needed was a different type of woman. And really what he needed was a kick in the pants from a man.
Right.
See, what I found out in these stories, which I hear a lot of them, being a pastor and being friends with a lot of women per se, I hear the story of this man talking about the other woman or the woman they left. And, oh, if I just had you, there you go. They're appealing to your flesh. If I just had you. And then you go, okay, and you ain't really let him in yet, but you say, okay, based upon what he said, like Tanika said, I wish I could have talked to them. Don't that sound familiar, Frida? I wish I could have talked to her. Yeah, see, because I don't think she would have labeled herself like him. You know what I'm saying? You know, I've been in certain situations. I rarely have been in a situation where the woman said, you know, that man, he categorized me right. I'm a B in all aspects, and I'm proud of it. What you get is, girl, be careful. You'll see. You'll see. Ain't no sense you being mad at me. You got him now. And I hope he do right. Because if he do right, he might do right by the 4-5 kids he left or 3-4 kids he left. But what ends up happening is these men don't have no intentions on doing right by anybody. So what ends up happening is where you think you're going up, you're actually being pulled down. Where you might have had a little something, now you have nothing. And you default to the fact you got the babies. Well, that's not what you signed up for. Because if you was just going to have a baby, why not pick somebody with some money? I mean, if you're just going to have a baby, why not pick a full man? If it's just about having babies.
Well, see, because for me, it wasn't. It wasn't about just having a baby. Like I said, I was out here hoeing, like having fun, like for real, hard, like a little bit too hard with everybody. And I'm going to church, you know, sitting there and learning and going through life, but still just learning. And I got to a point where this doesn't feel right. Mm-hmm. Like, yeah, it's good for my flesh, but this does not feel right to my spirit. I have to do something different. I need to change. I wasn't thinking about nobody else. I should have, but I wasn't thinking about nobody else outside of me. I just knew that I had to change. So I decided to be legit and to be honest and to do what I needed to do to be a wife and to do all of this and read up on mothering and stuff. And then I just picked the guy who I thought was pretty manly. He made it seem like, you know, he had a family and the woman that he had children before him, and he was taking care of all of them. And he was working full time when I met him, so there's a little bit of money. I didn't know how much he was making, but he painted himself up to be a sincere, trying family man, but his woman was the problem. And I was just, I'm working on trying to be a better woman. I am in church. Do you deal with Jesus? Because I deal with Jesus. Well, that's good. Great. Like, I think you cute. You think I'm cute. All right, well, yeah, let's become friends and see how this will work out. And just the more open I was, the more honest I was, the more I was just letting my little light shine, he took advantage. And it was a long time of being with him to where I was like, he is extremely selfish. I'm giving and I'm not getting anything back. And it took me a while to realize that I, in fact, wasn't getting anything back. And that's only after I lost everything. I lost this, I lost that, but no, baby, it's cool. We together. We gonna get it back. Oh, this went left. It's cool. We gonna get it right. We gonna do this. And then I come to a point. He is not doing anything for us. He is doing what he needs to do for him. Wow. So maybe I need to do what I need to do for me. I was wrong in being so open and honest with this person who wasn't worth it. So let me pack all of that stuff up and then try to do what I need to do for me, especially because I now have a child, which is his child. So I definitely just need to like hone in and become maybe a little bit more selfish myself.
Well, I would say this, Tanika, this is what I would tell you. Tanika, now I'm gonna ask you this, Tanika. What happens when the Christian woman draws the line on the cultural man? What normally happens?
Well, when you do that, you get all kinds of, like we discussed prior, buckets, and you get all kinds of disgusting things that would not normally come out because the boundaries and the standards that you have set have now turned that person and yourself into somebody that is no longer going to accept the nonsense and prior past behaviors that was acceptable before. Now that this person, whether it's myself or Miss Frida or whoever, whenever you set a standard or boundaries, you're going to shake up somebody's world. You're even going to shake up your world because unbeknownst to both parties, whether you're trying to shake it up for the man, not giving him no more intimacy, that's shaking up his world, but it's shaking up your world as well because you have now said to yourself, this is a boundary. I will no longer accept X, Y, and Z in the third. And when you do that, you have now given yourself your power back because for a long time, that individual was sucking the power out of you. And every time the person said, I'm going to do X, Y, Z, and we're going to do we, blah, 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 and all you got was empty promises, zero action, and you're looking like, raising your hand like, what the heck? What happened?
I thought we.
I thought we was, but guess what? I'm the one that lost the job. I'm the one that had to lose. I'm the one that had to raise kids. I'm finding that there's a lot of I and we. Right, there's no more we, and you, my sir, are gone and go playing around with more females to go make their life a living you know what. And you are stuck like, well, what the heck? I'm stuck with a whole bag of babies. Okay? And if I want to get another relationship, look, a real man will come and be like, I will come and meet you where you're at, if you find that man. But those are very rare. Very, very rare. When you hear about kids, whether you have 1 or 6, if a real man steps to you, he has to know that he's going to do what it takes to be responsible, not just to you, the woman, but to the kids as well. And that's why some women stay single so long, not because they wouldn't want to be with a man. They probably desire to be with a man so much, but because they know some of these men is out here playing, they don't got no time, is part of my bad grammar, but they don't have no time to deal with some 50-year-old idiot that doesn't understand what it takes to be responsible. Like, bro, I'm not giving you money to go buy weed. My child needs food. Like, if you want to go smoke some weed, go sit down somewhere, because I'm not doing that. I'm not doing it. If you go get high somewhere else, because that can't be around my kids. Oh, you're just being a prude. Well, call me whatever you will, but my child and my children will not be around you and your weird drug habits, so get to stepping. Oh, why you gotta be like that? Because you are an irresponsible man. You, my friend, are an irresponsible man. So then you're not the one. X on you. Next.
Now,
like
see,
they say,
yeah, but you know what? The one thing you said, Frida said lazy, and you said weak, and what and then you said, both of you have said in many different words, selfishness. That imitation man is very selfish. Yeah. No matter what he does, no matter what he thinks, no matter how he perpetrates, no matter what he may move, it may look like one thing, But like you said in the beginning, it's to gain advantage. If he see you like going to church, he'll go to church till he gets what he wants.
Exactly.
He'll go to church until, okay, let's say he wants sex. Okay, you start giving him sex, he good. Let's say it's to marry you. You marry him, he good. Let's say it's to get your money, marriage and sex, he good. Now, once he finished sucking you dry like a orange, then he's ready to discard you and move on to the next with the same line. You're not helping him be a man. You're not helping him be a man. What we're gonna do is kind of a segue into what's not a man, but I'm gonna give one definition of a man that covers many different facets, which is sacrifice. These men are so selfish now culturally that they think they're entitled and they don't never have to sacrifice. And see, sacrifice to them is still selfish because I'm only going to give what she sets the standard for. So the key is you women have to set a higher standard because he's not going to go over what you expect. He has to learn how to do that. If you say, bring me one rose, he's not going to say, you know what? I'm going to bring her a dozen. See, he has to be trained into that. But first you got to set a standard, a higher standard, and don't move from that standard. Because the day you give up that standard in lieu of him, I hear women say, oh, well, he's cute. What does that got to do with anything? You can't sell cute. You can't buy nothing with cute. And like I thought, when women give men these terms like cute, what about handsome? But even with that, you can't buy nothing with handsome. And you're focused on some exterior. When y'all go out, you look good, but the thing about it is, he's looking over your shoulder, looking at the next woman. He's not willing to sacrifice. He's know every stat about every other man and every other star, but he has no stats for himself in life. Think about it. They'll tell you about this one, that one, how much money they gonna make, how many touchdowns. But dude, when is the last time you read a touchdown for your family? When the last time you came in at the right time and saved the day for your family? When is it that you sacrificed what you want for your daughters and your sons and gave them what they need? When have you said no to yourself and your flesh and quit trying to pander into my flesh instead of standing for me to look up to? And what I'm hearing from you two, and y'all can correct me, and I'm going to open the floor back up to you two. All I hear is that this thing that we think is not true is true. In our community, men are not really there. And they're slim picking.
Yeah, that's true.
They're slim picking.
Out of the
Go ahead, Frida.
I just want to say something.
Go ahead.
When I was out here playing, like, I kind of thought that I knew men, but I guess I did. It was just really on a really light, superficial, really shallow level, because I never really cared. I wasn't that serious. I never really cared to get, deep into him. And when I found the man who I decided to get deep with, I was thinking that he and I were getting deep together, when really he was just painting a picture of what he thought that I would like to see. And I was thinking, because, he did tell me that he had a child, and I was like, okay, well, I don't have any children, so he would at least know. I sound so funny to myself saying it now, but he would kind of have an inkling on how to parent, unlike I do, because he has a kid. Then when I found out that the one kid was actually, in fact, 4, it was so many things. Like, first I got upset at the way that he told me And then at the same time, I was like, wow, okay, so I thought that you only had one, but you really have four. So now I know that you're a super parent, and I know you have all of the insights because you have multiple children. And it's like it was every time that I went through something with him, my whole thing is, what can I learn from this newfound information that he's telling me? What can I learn from this? What can I glean from this situation? Because I just knew that he and I were going to be together. The good, bad, indifferent, I just knew that he and I were going to be together. So anytime anything negative came my way from him or from anybody else to us, I just knew, like, it's just something else that we got to pray on. It's just something else that I need to work on for myself. And at the end, it's like, yeah, I just got so tired and stressed and sad, and I could not figure out why it was coming from or where it was coming from. And the whole time that it was this person in my face, helping, giving me hugs to help me feel better, was the same person that was, like, allowing me to die on the inside. Wow.
Yeah. Tanika, you went through something like that, but yours turned into domestic violence, didn't it?
Right. And that's...
It's like, yeah, I just got so tired and stressed and sad, and I could not figure out why it was coming from or where it was coming from. And the whole time that it was this person in my face, helping, giving me hugs to help me feel better, was the same person that was, like, allowing me to die on the inside. Wow.
Yeah. Tanika, you went through something like that, but yours turned into domestic violence, didn't it?
Right. And that's exactly why I was listening to her and hearing what she's saying. And it's sad because it's so draining. And I think that you're still in a good situation, Frida. Even though you've got one child, you can still turn your life around. So know that. But we can all turn our lives around. Like you said, when you get lessons, you need to glean from what you can. And now, this is what I put in my book, Think. The hurt is now knowledge. So what you have learned, what the Lord has allowed to happen in your life, what have you learned, and the lessons that you have gotten within that relationship, you shall always use that as your barometer of what you do not want, what you will not accept, what you will not tolerate. And sometimes the best lessons in our lives is life experience. Like, nobody can teach you what kind of man you don't want until he's actually in your face. And you get to see his face. Like, yeah, I don't want that. I don't want you calling me out my name. So now, when you do build up a standard, when you do put up boundaries, they are actually real to you because you have actually dealt with a no-good bum. You've actually dealt with a bum and said, no, you know what, I don't want any more bums. I've already been there, done that. Bums is off my list. Now it's time to let's see if we can get a little more sophisticated, high-class guy. Let's go up a little bit. Let's set the bar higher for ourselves. So then you start to understand that. So for me, when I had a bar set, I didn't have a bar when I married my husband because he was husband. He wasn't a boyfriend. He became husband. And when it's a husband and you are a husband and wife, things are so much different. Be very happy you were not married to said person. But when you are a husband and wife and you are trying to be the faithful wife, you're trying to be the Proverbs 31 woman, you're trying to sacrifice, be obedient, submit to your husband so you can listen, all of that, and I missed the mark. Not we, but some of us women maybe, but some of us miss the mark in what the word actually says. And I'm saying this, and I'm still talking about the Bible, even though we don't want to. For me, that is actually what happened. I had to go hide in my closet to go read the word, and then telling me with this one statement, your God can't help you. Look, I'm going to need you to not say that because you must have not read the Bible. And in fact, you don't even read the Bible. I married a whole heathen, okay? I'm unevenly yoked. I understand that. I'm going to have to pray to God to get me out of this mess that I put myself in because I was running from something else. So I know you don't believe in God. I know that. I'm pretty sleeping with the devil right now. I'm sleeping with the spawn of Satan. And you hate God, you hate Jesus, you hate the Holy Spirit, you hate church. You will do things in church that will cause a ruckus. You'll look at women husband, so lay there. And then you're crying. I'm crying. And I was like, didn't you see me cry? Oh, I thought you liked it. No. Tears mean I enjoyed it. So whatever happens in a marriage is totally different from a relationship of two people. You can walk away from old boy, goodbye, send me child support, good night. But when you're in a marriage, it's going to take a whole bunch of courage and a whole bunch of God and a whole bunch of praying and a whole bunch of people that God's going to send into your life in order to let you understand and see. And every night you're wondering and praying, is this going to be your night where you don't wake up? Is this going to be your night? And just being with my husband at that time, who's my ex-husband now, he would kiss me and would feel like I got a kiss by Judas. Because he would come, I would be sick laying in the bed, he'd come and give me a kiss, and then smile at me with an evil look like, how you feeling? I wish I could kill you, but I can't. That's a bad thought. I'm hurt. I can't do anything. You know, I can't leave. Nobody's here to help me because I'm isolated from my family, and I have to deal with you. You can talk to me. No, you are my problem. You are the problem. I can't say you're my husband, but I know you're playing around. Like, I can't stop this. The whole thing. Like, when you're married, it's just so different. And when you're married to the wrong person, it will cause you to lose yourself. And you have to fight with so much. You have to get in that word and keep reading it. I used to read the word even when I didn't understand. I said, God, I know you're in this Bible somewhere. I'm not understanding what I'm reading in Isaiah, but I'm going to keep reading. I don't understand what I'm reading in Acts, but I know that I watched you do stuff with Moses. I know you got the power, so you got the power to get me out of whatever this is. I just had the faith that he would move. And I said, I know there's one thing that I remember that God would always say, that I always learned. You have to be patient because it's God's timing. And when he gives you the out, take it. Do not second guess. Follow your first mind. Whatever the Holy Spirit convicts you, you listen. You don't wait and say, well, maybe I should. No. You follow your first mind. That Holy Spirit is telling you and leading you. And when you get that urgency, you pack up your stuff, you get out, you leave, whatever it is. And it doesn't have to be a relationship. In a toxic environment, even if you're at work, whatever that first mind that God is telling you to do, go with that and don't second guess. Because if you second guess, you have no idea. And I'm just thankful every day that I'm alive. Because for a man to sit up and look at me and say, I'll go to jail for assault, I may not have been alive today to tell the tale. So I am very, very, very passionate about domestic violence and abuse to anybody in any kind of toxic relationship. Toxicity will kill you. It will kill you. It will destroy you. It will kill you. Literally take you out.
So what we concluded is that and what I'm hearing, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, what I'm concluding is that in this culture today, men have become toxic to the female that God has given them. The male has become the cultural male of today. The cultural male of today has become a chameleon, has played the game and is playing the game. And what he's doing is building up resentment between his female counterpart and himself. Resentment to the point that even when a good man may come along that has all the qualities that Frida stated in the beginning, she might not be in position emotionally, mentally, and spiritually to receive such a one. Where he has to be willing to, brothers, and I'm saying the brothers who are good men, you may have to be patient with that woman because you need to pull out what she's been through and how she feels that way. I remember when I was dating a young lady for the first time, she spent 25 minutes on our first date telling me what I was not going to do to her. And this is the kind of stuff she said. You're not going to hit me. You're not going to do it. You know, she's setting the standard now. But then I thought about it. The reason why she's setting that standard is because she's been in a relationship that a guy put a cigarette butt out on her. You know what I'm saying? To that degree of torture. Like, he tortured her. And over time, I had to let her know that and prove to her, brothers, be patient. You have to prove it by action and deed and word and consistency. See, the key with what I would tell women to watch for men is you got to give time for consistency. And a no is much better than a yes anytime that he wants something. Because you say no enough, most men can't handle that. Like Tanika, when you was talking about the other day, you was telling that guy, no, I'm not going to give you this, and no, I'm not going to give you that. You threw him off his game.
Yeah.
because they're used to women being so lonely. Yes, I'll be that woman for you. I think we need to get out of our vocabulary as women. Please drop this, because men take advantage when you say this, because he understands when you say this, it's an ego thing on your part. I'm a ride or die chick. At that point, he knows your ego is so big about who you are that I can actually take from you, do to you what I want to do, and you're going to ride. And guess what else you're going to do? You're going to die.
No.
Don't say that. That's not cute. Okay, I know what you think you mean. But what we hear is we can do what we want to do. All we got to do is make you happy a couple of times and make you feel secure, and then flip the script to say, if you don't do what I need you to do, you won't be secure. Or if you happen to get the male to become your son, now it's a whole different dynamic, because now you're more worried about his feelings. You're no more worried about his psychological well-being. He ain't got no place to lay his head. He may go out here and commit suicide. That's how you worry about your kids. As if you really can control all of that, what he is supposed to control by the way he lives his life. The Bible says if a man don't work, he don't eat. He's not talking about mankind. He's talking about men. 99% of the Bible, what I researched the other day, the word men, not man to be confused with mankind, men, men, is over 1,199 verses with the word men. Brother is up there too. Brothers. Wives and sister, not so much. Because this is a book that's good for society, because it's good for man. Paul even said it. Follow me as I follow Christ. The Lord set the order with Adam. And now we can finish with what we can go to is Ephesians. Ephesians chapter 5, starting at verse 23, it says, out of the ESV, it says, for husbands is the head of the wife. Now, I want to put a pin right there. The heathen husband loves to use that verse to take advantage of his wife. That's their go-to thing. I'm the head. But this is how the scripture should actually read. This scripture, interpreted correctly with the understanding of good translation, would mean, for the husband is the responsible and accountable, and God's going to hold him to a higher standard of his wife, even as Christ is responsible and accountable for the church. See, when I become accountable and responsible, who am I accountable to? God. See, a man that's not wholly committed to God can't be committed to you. It's impossible. Now it says, verse 24 says, now as the church submits to the Christ, so also the wife should submit in everything to their husband. Well, on the surface, it's like, okay, if I get married, I'm supposed to submit to my husband. But there's only problem. We talk about Christian men who have submitted to Christ. And therefore the wife can submit to the husband. This blanket submitting is ridiculous. It's dangerous, and it's demeaning to the woman's character. It's like women will follow you, man, because that's our natural inclination. But where are you leading her to? Are you moving ahead in Christ? You know that scripture where it tells, Tanika, it says, wives, go ask your husbands. This is the key. You got to be honest. Who knows more about the God of the Bible and your God? Do you know more or do your husband know more? And if your husband don't know, why don't he? Because, you'll say, he started going to church, but when we got married, he stopped going. He didn't want to go to church. He wanted you. And now that he got you, he doesn't care about the things of God. He went through the ceremonies. He played a role. But is he the first one up on Sunday saying, let's go, let's go, let's go, hurry up, get dressed, let's go? Or is he laying in the bed and just when you run a little bit behind time and he look over at you with them eyes and say, you ain't no need you go to church. Come on back in the bed with me. Continue to pull you away from God. Because he's not going to be accountable. He's not going to be responsible. He's not going to be the man of God that God has called him to be. The cultural man is not in line with God. He's still Satan's child. Go ahead, Tanika. He's still Satan's child. Oh, go ahead, Freedom.
No, that's definitely freedom. But that is so predatory. And that's the thing that kind of like makes me sick. I'm in Christ, in church, and I'm trying to mature, in my faith and my spirit, but also like just as a woman, I'm trying. And you find a young man or man at your age, and he says the same thing that you know that you are sincere about, that he really feels. And it's like, okay, well, we have to start somewhere. Let us go to church together. Let us do this together. And then as you, like, I'm trying, why aren't you? And if all you wanted was just me, I'm good, but there is something so much greater than I. Do you no longer aspire to be a better man? All you wanted was just me? And it's not that I'm not much, but I'm saying that's just so simple. All you needed was, just some home and a place to lay your head. But there are so many others. The world is so much bigger than that. And you told me that that's what you wanted, So I'm getting with you thinking that that's what we're going to have. But your whole view, your whole mind is just so diminished and so small and so shallow and so immature. I was better talking to no one. I was better by myself than trusting someone who just was so just not everything that he said he was. He just was not. And in a way, it's like me or any other woman who's listening, we might be better off just on our own. Just on our own.
Yeah.
Because it's so hard to find what it even looks like. Like I can't even tell you what it looks like, but I know what a single mom boss looks like. I know what a single mom struggling looks like. I know what a woman with 3 kids and 3 baby daddies, or a woman with 2 kids and 1 baby. I know what all of that looks like, but who, like, what?
Say, will the real man stand? Will the real man stand up? In Ephesians 5:25, it says it plainly: husbands, love your wives as Christ loved the church and gave himself up for her. There is the selflessness that you guys said is actually men of today are selfish. Husbands, love your wives as Christ loved the church and gave himself up for her. Sacrificial. I want to see you smile more than I want to go to the game. I want to see you smile and my child be okay more than I want to hang out with the fellas. I want to see that my home and my castle is secure and nobody can come in and take anything out of it, because I am the king of my castle and I love you enough to sacrifice and die for the sanctity and the well-being of my kingdom. And I'm going to do that because I fully understand what Christ did for me. And what happens, and Tanika, what happens with these men is this. This I'm gonna give you some advice. Women, you get a man who wants to come to church because you in church. Okay, I got that. This is what you do. You go to church with him twice. And then what you do, you hand them over to the pastor or the elder or the deacon and make that their responsibility and let him deal with him. Because you'll quickly find out if he not true about his man, this thing with God, that man of God will pull that cover off of him.
Mm-hmm.
And be able to see, no, that ain't. He just wants you.
Yeah.
He want to sit next to you. He don't want to do nothing for the church for real. Because see, other than when you come, he don't do. Hold up. Other than when you come, he don't do nothing. Other than when you move, he ain't moving. Other than when you say, well, let's do this for the church. All he do is say, okay, but is he ever proactive in anything? That's another thing. Women, your man needs to be proactive and not reactive. Your man needs to be the one who has a philosophical, a worldview that's Christian. A theological worldview, a Christian worldview. His thoughts should not bounce back and forth whatever the culture says at the given time, because the culture goalposts move all the time. And a man who is double-minded in culture, the Bible says a double-minded man is unstable in all his ways. Sister Drake, what do you else? I'm gonna let you finish up. What you think? What you think about Ephesians 5:25? What is your take on that? Husbands, love your wife as Christ loved the church and gave himself up for her.
Well, I think my take on that, because I read that passage and I read a lot of passages in the Word about husbands, how they're supposed to treat their wives. The thing that I understand is I've never met that man.
Okay.
What the Bible says, we know the word is true, but I have never experienced that man that we are talking about. Like Sister Frida was talking about, the ideal. In the Bible, it's like an ideal man who does not exist in this yet culture. They're not here. They don't exist. And if they are, and if they aren't existent, they don't want nothing to do with you because they're not at that level. They're not trying to do that. So you really don't get to see how that actual husband, that male, that man of God actually treats you, because you had never experienced it. You keep experiencing these bozos, these knuckleheads. So will you ever get a chance to experience that type of God-fearing man that understands what Ephesians 5 through that whole entire book is saying? I don't know that I will. And I'm not really looking to jump back into anybody's marriage with anybody, because I already went through that whole marriage thing. It was a whole bunch of hell. So do you think I'm looking to find another man to do that again so I can see if you are God-fearing? I'm not looking for that. I'm not really interested. So singleness, I'm going to take what Paul says and I'm going to embrace it as a gift. And look, unless God's sending me somebody, I ain't looking for nobody. I ain't checking for nobody. And that person, to me, in the Bible, he don't exist for me. So I'm good. I'm good by myself, taking care of my business. I'm not trying to do no more men stuff, because no, that whole thing is nonsense. No.
So in other words, you ain't looking for no more bozos. You gonna wait for God to send you the so-called Boaz. Let's be honest. We know that they have to exist because God said so. Now, culturally, we may live in a time where they are less evident. They are not shined upon. They're considered aggressive, strong, egotistical. You know, when this man stands up, the culture shoots him down. When this man fights for his family, the culture shoots him down. When this man says, you're not going to come into my house and take anything out of my house or hurt my wife or my children, the culture says, no, we need to take care of your children. You don't know how to do that because you're being too much of a man. You need to be more feminine. You need to, hold up, I love this. You need to get in touch with your feminine side. Well, ladies, I'm going to tell you what. If your man tells you that he needs to get in touch with his feminine side, he's not a man. Because a real man does not have a feminine side. What he has is a tender side, and the tender side is a man. Jesus was a lion and a lamb. Nowhere in the Bible did it tell us that Jesus had a feminine side. See, this is our problem. We don't know what that words have power and definitions and stuff. And when we start assigning feminine traits to men and actually telling men to be like that, if a man got to be a punk and to get with you, guess what he'll do? He'll be a punk. Because y'all just said he's a chameleon. If you think sagging is cute, which from the penitentiary way, it was a way to show that you was a homosexual. If you think that's cute because he's sagging, guess what? He gonna sag. But don't get mad when one day you come home early and he in there with Joe. Because he's already shown you, because you are attracted to his feminine side. I know some people can't handle this, and I don't care because I'm telling the truth. This is real. This real talk weekend. This ain't no sermon. I'm talking to two women of God going through real life experiences. Both of them have experienced this cultural male, which in their saying, their two adjectives was lazy and weak. So, brothers, my question to you: be honest with yourself. Are you lazy and weak? Because you're going to be found out. Well, let's put it this way. If you come to walk in truth, you're going to be found out. So stay as far away. If you lazy and weak, stay as far away from me as possible. You can't fool me. I love when the men say I'm too hard on them. That means I ain't hard enough. Because all I'm requiring is that you be accountable and responsible and proactive. See what needs to be done and be the first one to do it. It's kind of funny that when we talk about this, we really just want simple things.
Right.
We're not telling you got to go out and make $1 million.
Exactly.
We're just saying have a decent job that you can take care of your family. We're not saying you got to go buy us we're not saying you not go buy me Rolls Royce. These two women are not saying you got to reach a certain financial status and a social status to be a good man. What they're saying is the status that God has set of you take care of what's yours, like Frida said again, you take care of what you make. Mm-hmm. The Bible even says if you don't take care of your wife right, your prayers ain't going to even be answered. You take care of what you make. You make them, you take care of them. It don't make no difference if hold on. You being tired is part of the plan. That's why you got the stronger body. If you make a whole bunch of kids, you deserve to be tired. Because you take care of all of them. Now, your way to take care of them in an easier fashion is to educate yourself to make more money so you can give more to your family. And I know this is going to hurt some men's feelings. I already know. They're going to listen to this. They're going to say I'm talking about them. And what? If I'm talking about you and you go and you sit there, and if you get in your feelings as a man because of what has been said today by me or them, you're not a man. Now, I drew the line in the sand. And see, like I was telling Tanika, think about the sand, all pristine beach, no marks on the beach at all. Then somebody comes and take a stick and draw a line straight down the middle of it. Wherever that line is started at, there's been disruption. The closer you are to the line, the closer you are to the initial disruption. I'm trying to cause a disruption in your life so that you can live out the rest of your life as a man of God, with godly principles. Not perfect. You're going to make some mistakes. You're going to fail. You've never been trained. You don't have nothing to emulate. But you got the best man in the world to emulate. His name is Jesus.
Mm-hmm. Amen.
And then you find men who follow Jesus and you walk with them. So I thank both of you for coming on. I know this is going to be hot, but like I say, I don't care. So 2 minutes, Freedom. I want to give you the last word. Tell me what your thoughts are.
Yeah, this topic is, like you said, inexhaustible. There's more things that I wish that I could say. I just, I'm still my first interview, and I appreciate the prompt. I'm happy to be here, on the panel. But, here's just in closing. For women, we have to learn how to develop our own standards before we go through a guy who takes us through the ringers. Like, that's the one of the things that I do like appreciate the most, being on the other side of my situation. I married a liar so much so that I couldn't even be married to him. He was already married to somebody else but lied about it. So I thank God, and I see God more now than I did before. But just one of the things that I will have to tell my daughter, like, develop standards for yourself, develop standards for a guy that you will accept, and all of that, and do that now. Do it before you date your first boyfriend. Do it before you marry your first husband. Do those things first, because you don't want to have a man roughhouse you, and then you learn this, and then you learn that, and now you know what you don't want, and now you know we just have to love ourselves more, and yeah, we need better relationships between us women so that we can better deal with the men that are there and the lack thereof of men around.
Okay. Sister Tanika, what you have to say?
Just piggybacking off what she said, and that was true. We were talking about that. Standards need to be set way before any man comes in your life. That's just what it needs to be. And if you don't have any at the time, unfortunately, some of us have to go through some things in order to develop those standards. But for all of those women, and not just myself and Sister Frida, but if you are that woman that has actually been through something, it is our responsibility to teach other women what it is of these men, that they should not fall for the same okey-doke line. If we could get together and stop all of the trying to compete with one another and say, hey, I understand you want to be with this guy, and they come to you and they're asking you, hey, Sister Frida, what's going on? Well, I want you to have your own standards. Just because he thinks that you're lonely, he's going to come to you. Don't let that be the thing that makes you go be with any man. If you can do bad by yourself, young lady, young woman, alone, you don't need a young man coming into your life to cause you any more disturbance and disruption. It's not the kind that you even want. So for Valentine's Day, because I'm just going to segue real quick, Valentine's Day, because the cuffing season is so just crazy and asinine that everybody wants to be with somebody because society says you.
Hello, this is Pastor Jay with Walk in Truth Radio Podcast, and I want to encourage and implore you to become a podcaster. In today's time, there's a lot of things to be said, and there's things on your mind that other people need to know. The best way to get your word out is to become a podcaster. And the secret to podcasting is becoming part of the Anchor team. Yes, become a podcaster on Anchor FM. All you have to do is download the application and walk through the prompts, and you'll find yourself podcasting before you know it. And the greatest thing about Anchor podcasting, it is free. And guess what? You don't have to worry about distribution. They distribute it all over the planet through many different platforms. So all you have to do is be concerned about your content, and they give you tools to mix your podcast with music and sound effects. So again, I encourage you today, go to Anchor and become a podcaster. Download the app and watch how simple it is. This is Pastor Jay signing off. Stay tuned to the show, and always be encouraged, be blessed, and be at peace. And remember, walk in truth on Anchor Podcasting. Peace. Hello, this is Pastor Jay with Walk in Truth Radio Podcast, and I want to invite all those within the St. Louis metropolitan area and around the world to come worship with us every Sunday at 8 a.m. at the Universal Church of Jesus Christ building, located at 2301 Wallace Avenue, Overland, Missouri, 63114. We also have our Rescue Addiction Recovery Program on Mondays from 7 p.m. until 8 p.m. Our Bible studies are held every Tuesday at 11 a.m. and 7 p.m. You can also catch us, follow us, and subscribe to us on Facebook, YouTube, Instagram, and Twitter. Please come out and join us. Follow us. Follow our podcast. But most of all, get saved, sanctified, and full of the Holy Ghost. And always remember, walk in truth. And if you'd like to contact me by email, you can do so by going to walkintruthministries@yahoo.com or WITMIN@yahoo.com. Thank you and bless you, and we look forward to worshiping and fellowshipping with you. Peace.